"Aunt Sarah, have you ever seen a monster?" Heidi's big brown eyes sparkled with a mix of fear and excitement. Her innocent curiosity was always a source of wonder for me. She had a way of asking questions that made you think deeply, even about the most fantastical things. Her question, innocent as it was, sent a shiver down my spine. It wasn't just the question itself, but the way she asked it, with such earnestness and belief. It made me wonder what had sparked this curiosity in her young mind. "Of course not, sweetie," I chuckled, ruffling her hair. "Monsters aren't real." I tried to reassure her with a smile, hoping to dispel any fears she might have, but deep down I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her question. Little did I know a chilling encounter at the Russian River would soon challenge everything I thought I knew. The river, usually a place of peace and tranquility, would become the backdrop for an experience that defied explanation. Heidi's question, a mere whisper in the bustling chaos of my sister's house, would echo in my mind for years to come. It was as if her innocent inquiry had opened a door to a world I had never considered, a world where the line between reality and imagination blurred. That evening, as we gathered around the fireplace, I found myself recounting old family stories, tales of bravery, love, and yes, even the occasional ghost story. Heidi listened with rapt attention, her eyes wide with wonder. It was in these moments that I realized how powerful stories could be, shaping our perceptions and igniting our imaginations. The Russian River, with its foggy banks and mysterious currents, had always been a place of legend in our family. Stories of strange sightings and unexplained phenomena had been passed down through generations, but I had always dismissed them as mere folklore, until that fateful evening. As I stood by the window, lost in thought, I couldn't help but wonder if there was some truth to those old tales. Had we been too quick to dismiss the unknown? Heidi's question had planted a seed of doubt in my mind, one that would grow with each passing day. Watching Heidi play with her toys, lost in her own world of make-believe, I realized that the line between reality and fantasy was not as clear-cut as I had once believed. Children have a way of seeing the world that adults often lose, a sense of wonder and possibility that we should cherish. Our family walks along the riverbank took on a new significance. Each rustle of the leaves, each ripple in the water seemed to hold a hidden meaning. The river, with its timeless flow, became a symbol of the mysteries that life holds, waiting to be discovered. As the sun set over the Russian River, casting a golden glow over the water, I felt a sense of peace. Whatever the truth behind the legends, I knew that the journey of discovery was just as important as the answers we seek. And in that moment, I was grateful for Heidi's curiosity, for it had opened my eyes to the wonders of the world around us. The Russian River, with its towering redwoods, has always been a sanctuary for me. These majestic trees, standing tall and proud, seem to whisper ancient secrets to those who take the time to listen. Their presence is both humbling and comforting, a reminder of nature's enduring strength. The shimmering water, reflecting the golden rays of the sun, dances like 1,000 tiny diamonds. It's a mesmerizing sight, one that never fails to captivate my senses and soothe my soul. The gentle murmur of the river as it flows over smooth stones is like nature's lullaby, calming and serene. This place has always been my escape, a refuge from the relentless pace of city life. Here, amidst the rustling leaves and the chirping of birds, I find a sense of peace and tranquility that eludes me in the urban jungle. It's a place to unwind, to reconnect with nature, and to forget about the city's clamor. This trip, however, was different. There was an undercurrent of tension, a sense of foreboding that I couldn't quite shake. Perhaps it was the way the shadows seemed to stretch longer, or the way the wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it a hint of something unknown. Bradley, my ever-optimistic and some might say reckless boyfriend, had insisted on bringing his new RV. He was thrilled at the prospect of an adventure, eager to explore the wilderness in his latest acquisition. His enthusiasm was infectious, but I couldn't help but feel a twinge of apprehension. The RV was parked awkwardly under the trees, a stark contrast to the tranquil surroundings. Its metallic frame and modern amenities seemed out of place in this ancient forest, a jarring reminder of the world we had left behind. I wondered if we were intruding on something sacred, something that was not meant to be disturbed. The air was thick with the smell of pine needles and damp earth, a heady mix that filled my lungs and grounded me in the present moment. Each breath was a reminder of the raw, untamed beauty of this place, a beauty that was both exhilarating and intimidating. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the campsite, a strange uneasiness crept over me. The forest, which had seemed so welcoming in the daylight, now took on an eerie quality. The trees, once guardians of peace, now loomed like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The chirping of birds was replaced by the hooting of an owl, and the rustling leaves seemed to whisper secrets of the night. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that the forest was alive with unseen eyes. It was a reminder that nature, in all its beauty, also held mysteries and dangers that we could never fully understand. We set up a campfire, its warm glow a small comfort against the encroaching darkness. The flames danced and flickered, casting playful shadows on the trees. Bradley, ever the optimist, tried to lighten the mood with stories and jokes, but my mind kept drifting back to the uneasy feeling that had settled in my chest. The night was still young, and I couldn't shake the sense that our adventure was just beginning, and that the forest had its own plans for us. It started with a flicker of movement in the woods. The sun was setting, casting long shadows that danced and flickered, making it hard to distinguish reality from illusion. The forest was dense, the trees standing like silent sentinels, their branches swaying gently in the evening breeze. It was in this twilight that we first noticed the movement, a shadowy figure slipping through the underbrush with an eerie grace. A young man emerged from the trees, his clothes torn and his face hidden beneath a dark hood. His appearance was disheveled, as if he had been wandering for days, lost and alone. The hood cast a shadow over his features, making it difficult to see his expression, but there was something about his posture that spoke of weariness and desperation. He moved with an unsettling silence, his eyes darting around like a hunted animal. Each step he took was deliberate, almost predatory, as if he was both searching for something and trying to avoid being found. The forest seemed to hold its breath as he passed, the usual sounds of wildlife falling eerily silent in his wake. He approached our campsite, his gaze lingering on the RV for a moment too long. There was a tension in the air, a palpable sense of unease that settled over us like a heavy fog. His eyes, though shadowed by the hood, seemed to take in every detail, assessing, calculating. It was as if he was trying to decide whether we were friend or foe. Something about his presence set me on edge. Maybe it was the way he seemed to blend into the darkness, his movements almost too fluid, too practiced. Or perhaps it was the way he seemed to carry an air of danger, a sense that he was not to be trifled with. Whatever it was, it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Maybe it was the way he clutched a tattered backpack close to his chest, as if it contained something precious, something he couldn't afford to lose. The backpack was worn and frayed, its fabric stained and torn, but he held it with a grip that was almost possessive. It was clear that whatever was inside was of great importance to him, or the way his eyes seemed to burn with an unnatural intensity. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much, who had been pushed to the brink and had come back, changed. There was a fire in them, a fierce determination that was both captivating and terrifying. It was a look that spoke of survival, of a will to endure no matter the cost. As he stood there on the edge of our campsite, I couldn't shake the feeling that our lives were about to change in ways we couldn't yet comprehend. "Bradley," I whispered, my voice tight with apprehension, "that man, something doesn't feel right." Bradley, busy fiddling with the RV's propane tank, barely looked up. "Relax, Sarah," he scoffed. "He's probably just lost." But I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had settled in the pit of my stomach. The man's arrival, coupled with the encroaching darkness, had transformed the once peaceful campsite into a place of unknown dangers. "Don't be so paranoid," Bradley said, dismissing my concerns with a wave of his hand. "He's harmless." Despite my protests, Bradley approached the stranger, extending a hand in greeting. I watched, my heart pounding in my chest as they exchanged a few hushed words. The stranger's voice was low and guttural, barely audible above the rustling leaves. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the intensity in their eyes spoke volumes. It was clear that whatever was transpiring between them was far from ordinary. Moments later, Bradley returned, his face ashen and his eyes wide with fear. He slammed the RV door shut and fumbled with the locks, his hands trembling. "What happened?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "We need to leave," he breathed, his words tumbling over each other in a torrent of panic. "Now!" He wouldn't tell me what the stranger had said, but the terror etched on his face was answer enough. Something was terribly wrong. As Bradley started the RV, I risked a glance back at the forest. The shadows seemed to have deepened, as if the very woods were holding their breath. And then I saw it. A hulking figure, silhouetted against the rising moon, emerged from the trees. It moved with a primal grace that defied its size, its eyes glowing with an eerie yellow light. The creature was unlike anything I had ever seen. It was bigger than a bear, more muscular than any wolf I could imagine. Its fur was a tangled mess of black and gray, and its teeth, bared in a silent snarl, were long and sharp as daggers. Terror, raw and primal, surged through me. My breath caught in my throat, and I could only stare in disbelief as the creature took a step closer, its eyes locked on the RV. Bradley slammed his foot on the accelerator, and the RV lurched forward, tires spitting gravel. I didn't look back. What I saw, or thought I saw, that night on the Russian River continues to haunt me. Was it a werewolf? A figment of my imagination? To this day, I can't be sure. But one thing is certain, the experience left an indelible mark on my soul, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved.